Hello. So just coming on live here today just to have a talk about women's health, gut health especially, and to do with that time of perimenopause. So as we approach this time in our life, it can be a time where gut issues begin to arise. So it's kind of very important to try and deal with this aspect of our health. So it was Hippocrates who said that all disease begins in the gut. And so if all disease begins there, then it stands to reason that health also begins in the gut. So we can take a look maybe at what's happening in women's bodies as they reach perimenopause. Your hormonal levels are going to be fluctuating, so quite all over the place. So this means that estrogen levels are starting to decrease, and as they do, cortisol levels begin to increase, and this causes stress in a woman's body at this time. And if you are experiencing any other stresses in your life at that time, that's also going to be upping that cortisol. So it becomes quite critical for women when they reach this stage in their lives to begin to look at their stress, where you can kind of let go of stress, or what you can do to begin to manage stress in your life. So I would say, if you are not on the top or very near the top of your to-do list in your life, and you are a perimenopausal woman or beyond, put yourself there and set aside at least an hour a week. You can break it up into bite-sized chunks. Try to get to grips with your stress. Unaddressed stress is going to lead to some health issues. So it can lead to cardiovascular disease, it can lead to diabetes, type 2 diabetes, and it can also lead to stroke. So there's very good reasons why women should address their stress levels. And I've been there. I've had to do this. So very good ways in which we can begin to manage our stress are using evidence-based modalities. We could begin to just connect to our breath. So very simply connecting to our breath and finding other breathing techniques that can help us reduce those cortisol levels. Also perhaps beginning to practice some mindfulness or meditation. All of these things that we know help to reduce stress in the body, and then movement, considering perhaps a yoga practice just to get the body moving. These are really good ways to get that cortisol level under control, because if there's too much stress in the system, what is going to happen is that stomach acid is going to be suppressed, the production of it, and also digestion can switch off. So the body's directing energy away from digestion so that you can, mobilize the body out of your fight and flight. So, if digestion then is suppressed, this is going to lead to a host of issues. So this is where you can start to begin to experience things like perhaps getting bloated after you've eaten your food, possibly irritable bowel syndrome. You might end up being constipated, but then getting diarrhea. You might have excess wind. You might experience things like acid reflux or water retention. If you are experiencing any of these, then it looks like that you would be having too much cortisol, and it would be a good idea to kind of look at that, look at what you can do to lessen the stress in your life and to really cultivate a healthy gut. So this is where that stress is so important, because another issue that can arise for women if there is too much cortisol is it can lead to estrogen dominance. So even though your estrogen levels are depleting, okay, your progesterone will go towards creating cortisol. So the adrenals are going to be working hard. If you're stressed, cortisol is going to be released and progesterone will go towards creating that cortisol. So even though the estrogen levels are declining, they're still going to create this estrogen dominance. And once that happens in the body, you're going to be getting some symptoms. So things like hot flushes, weight gain, sweating at night. You might end up experiencing different issues with your thyroid, and just, even after a good night's sleep, waking up and feeling fatigued. So you can see already there are a lot of, really good reasons why it's so important for women to take care of their overall health, but especially their gut health at this time, and if you are drinking quite a large amount of alcohol or just grabbing a sandwich on the go and not giving yourself that time to sit down and eat your food properly, so these odd eating habits or a poor diet, all of those things, stress, medication, are going to contribute as well to how healthy your gut is. So these are all really good reasons for looking after the gut. And the gut regulates our estrogen levels as well. So, in the gut are billions of bacteria, the microbiome. So, billions of these little bacteria that are responsible for lots of different functions in the body. And if they're off whack, that can affect our thinking, it can affect our moods, can end up with anxiety, depression. So there's, all of these things going on. And this bacteria in the stomach, there's a subset of them called the estrobolome that metabolize our estrogens. And the gut's kind of playing a part in removing excess hormones from the blood. But if the gut's not functioning properly, it's not going to excrete those extra hormones, and they can get pumped back around the body. So you could have too much estrogen floating around the body. And again, this puts us at risk of certain cancers, cardiovascular disease, possible obesity. So, we're building a kind of picture here really of these different parts of our health that can just have an effect. And when one thing's knocked off, it can knock off other things. And then we're going to be ending up with these different issues, different problems in the body. Also certain hormones are produced in the gut. So serotonin, dopamine, GABA, gamma aminobutyric acid, they are all produced in the gut. And if the gut's off and it's not producing these properly, again, this is going to affect us, because these hormones are to do with regulating our moods, again with anxiety, with our ability to concentrate, and with the reward and motivation receptors in the brain. So it's quite clear that if that's off, that's going to have an effect on us as well, because we have this kind of communication, a two-way communication that's going on between the brain and between the gut, connected by the vagus nerve. So they're constantly in communication. If you know it yourself, if you're agitated, if you're really thinking about something and it's kind of weighing down on you, often we feel that feeling in our stomach, don't we? We feel kind of nauseous, or you begin to feel a little bit sick, a little bit off. So it works the other way as well. When things aren't quite right in the gut, that's going to be sending a message to the brain that something's not right somewhere. So there's always this kind of communication going on. And they call the gut, don't they, the second brain. We have that kind of gut feeling, our intuition, and we want to be able to trust that. But again, if the gut's off, that's going to be a little bit off whack as well. So, you know, it's not all negative. It's just to look at the things that can compromise us, but then to put in place strategies. We always want to kind of be solving these issues. So, you know, one, look at your stress levels in your life. What can you do to get your stress levels down? Things like plenty of rest, getting out in nature, breathing, meditating, practicing yoga, you know, all proven strategies that are going to help us just lower cortisol levels in the body and just, you know, bring about a little bit more balance. And we can also do this through what we eat. So to have like a hormone balancing diet would be a good thing to try and adopt. So to just make sure that we're having plenty of fruit and vegetables, especially, you know, things like cabbage, turnips, broccoli, all the good things there that we want to be eating to get our good fats, avocados, you know, olives, things like that, steering away from the more refined kind of oils or processed carbohydrates, sugars, you know, they're the kind of things that we want to just be maybe putting to one side. More oats, chia seeds are great, mung beans, and just plenty of fibre. You know, it's good to drink lots of water, but again, to maybe avoid drinking water or drinks with your meal, maybe about an hour before. Because if we're drinking water with our meal, we're also depleting those stomach acids that we need to help us kind of break down our food. So things like that are very good. And to maybe just try to eat foods that are going to reduce inflammation in the body. So like looking at things like apple cider vinegar, turmeric, sweet potatoes, nice bone broths, things like that are going to just reduce inflammation reduce inflammation in the body and just help just enhance our health. I'd suggest things like digestive enzymes as well. And a lot of studies have been done about how probiotics can really play a part, especially for women at this stage, just to get the gut health in an optimum state. And a lot of studies that have been done about probiotics have been looking at lactobacillus, and it's quite astounding how helpful this can be. So it's been linked to reducing mood disorders. It's very helpful to have a reduction in anxiety and depression. It's also been linked to a reduction in urinary tract infections, vaginal atrophy. It's also been linked to just helping to balance weight, and it's been linked to a reduction of hair loss. So, you know, these are specific studies that have been done just looking at how taking this particular strain of probiotic can really help to just get the body in a really good state. It's also helps with systemic inflammation as well. So, you know, just to kind of recap, we can balance our hormones through the food that we eat, making sure we get plenty of fibre, anti-inflammatory foods, maybe not drinking with our meal, reducing our stress through things like yoga, meditation and mindfulness, looking at digestive enzymes, maybe other things that can support the adrenals like ginseng, and just taking a good probiotic so that we can, if we can get our gut health in a really good state, that is going to give us more energy, more vitality. We are going to have less symptoms when we're going through the perimenopause and beyond. And, you know, that's what we want. We want to kind of look at what we can do to help ourselves. So, you know, I hope that's been helpful. I hope that's been helpful. Any questions that you have, you can just drop them below. Let me know. But yeah, let me know how you get on. And one other thing that I wanted to share with you is also people can feel quite nauseous in the morning. This is another thing that people, you know, often talk about, feeling slightly nauseous in the morning. What can I do? Don't really feel like having breakfast. So a lovely smoothie that you can make that's very soothing for the gut is to get a cup and your NutriBullet or your blender, put a cup of oats into the NutriBullet, put half a cup of live yogurt, a cup of berries, a cup of plant milk, and then maybe like 1 or 2 tablespoonfuls of chia seeds, which are great, again, for giving you energy. And just whiz it all up, drink it nice and slowly. They say to chew your smoothie, so give yourself time. You know, that could be a nice time to just sit down, take a mindful moment, breathe, enjoy your smoothie, and, you know, just see what difference that might make to how you're feeling in the morning. So it's a nice soothing smoothie. I'm going to drop the recipe in here as well below. So thank you very much for joining me today. I'll speak to you all again soon. Bye.